We've poured our hearts and souls into these videos to equip you with the knowledge and skills you need to succeed. We believe that everyone has the potential to learn and grow, and we're dedicated to helping you unlock yours. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. And for even more exclusive content and updates, join our Telegram community by clicking the link in the description or the first comment.
We all have that first wow moment with AI, when your mind is just blown, and we realize that there are things possible now that just simply weren't possible before. My wow moment came in late 2022 and playing around with an image generator called Midjourney, and it absolutely hit me. Man, this thing can create images that are so realistic, so quality, they're good enough to pass off as real. Then and there, I knew it would revolutionize the creative industries, because essentially this thing can do my job pretty much better than I can. It's something that isn't bound by the things that traditional photographers are bound by. The potential was huge, but no one was really talking about these tools yet. No one knew about them. Photographer, I've spent hours in the cold, in the dark, just waiting for the sunlight to creep up over the horizon so I can take the perfect shot. It takes time, it takes plenty of effort, and sometimes it doesn't always pan out. Now, there is definitely beauty in that struggle to get the perfect shot. However, you're always bound by certain things like location, equipment, money, weather. All sorts of things can get in the way of traditional photography or filmmaking. What AI does is removes those constraints. We're now able to generate exceptional imagery that can be used to tell stories, promote products, or just simply fun to look at. There really are no boundaries creatively anymore if you know how to effectively use these AI tools. We're going to be using Midjourney, a popular AI image generator, to create our visuals. There are three main features that we're going to be using: Imagine, Blend, and Describe. We're going to be using the Imagine tool first. The Imagine tool allows you to type in text and a corresponding image will be created. This process can create all kinds of imagery that range from the hyper-realistic to the abstract and everything in between. There are literally countless artistic styles. It can also be used to mimic the style of the master painters like Van Gogh or Salvador Dali and be put to work on an entirely new masterpiece. So let's have a look at the different ways that we can create visuals in Midjourney.
So the way that you access Midjourney is through a platform called Discord. You can use Discord on your phone or on your computer as well. Now let me say something straight away. Don't be scared or put off from using Discord. In a few minutes, you'll pick it right up. So to set everything up, what you'll need to do is to head over to discord.com and set up an account. Then head over to midjourney.com and set up an account there too. It only takes a few minutes, and if you get stuck, I've included an easy to understand guide, and you can find that in your resource list. Great. Now once you're all set up, this is what you'll see. It's not exactly a pretty platform, it's more a constant feed of people putting in text prompts and receiving their imagery. I personally like that Midjourney operates this way. It's a great way to get inspiration to see what other people are creating, and it can really jog your creativity in a few different ways. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see a text bar. Now, this is how you actually communicate with Midjourney. Think of it as the place where you input your prompts or change your settings, really just working with the platform. But before we dive in and start creating our imagery, we're going to first have a quick run through the settings and what each of them means. So to access settings, we want to go down the bottom text bar and type in /settings and hit enter. Then it will bring up all these different settings. First up, we have stylize. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It controls how strongly Midjourney's default aesthetic is applied. Now you can dial up the stylization and you'll start to see more wild results. I personally keep it on medium, but once you get to grips with Midjourney, feel free to come back and tweak these settings just how you like. Next, we have the speed settings with turbo, fast, or relaxed mode. I usually used fast mode, which means my images take about 1 to 1.5 minutes to complete, while relaxed mode takes a bit longer, but it won't burn through your monthly batch of generations that you have each month, while turbo will go through them a lot faster. You can always see how many generations you have left each month by typing in /information and hitting enter. Now back to our settings. The last and most important one you'll note is which model of Midjourney you're actually using. By clicking here, you can change the version, but as a rule of thumb, I usually keep it on the latest version of Midjourney, which means it will change with any updates, and they do come out quite frequently on Midjourney. So this is usually the best one to keep it on. The only time I really change that is to switch to NIJI mode with a little Apple symbol right here. The NIJI model is great for cartoons and illustrations and kind of anime images. The other one that I do like to change to sometimes is the RAW mode. So that allows for really realistic portraits, really realistic faces. We'll play around with these a little bit later on in the course, and we do also cover these in detail in your resource lists. But for now, let's keep it locked on to the latest version of Midjourney and start creating. Generating an image always starts the same way. So let's go down the bottom to the text bar and type in /imagine. This is where we can type in our text prompt and hit enter. With your prompts, you can be as specific or as vague as you like. You can simply type in house and you'll get lots of different variations of what Midjourney thinks a house may look like in lots of different styles. Or you can be a bit more specific. Say something like beautiful house next to a lake with a red door, and you'll get something much more specific. It's really up to you. This also applies to different styles. You can include a specific style or leave it blank, and Midjourney will suggest a number of different styles that you can use. For this one, I want to demonstrate a few different popular styles that will show some of these variations of imagery that you can create. So let's start with a simple prompt. I'll go down to the text bar and type in /imagine. A woman in a yellow dress on a sunny day, realistic photography style. Hitting enter. Now, once this bar goes yellow, it means that it's been submitted, and you'll just wait for your imagery to generate. And after waiting about a minute or so, here's our final output. Now, you'll see that we have 4 different images. Now let's go through what these different buttons underneath mean. U stands for upscale. So if you find an image that you like, say this one in the top left corner, you can click U1 and it generates a higher resolution image that you can save. And that's the same for U2, U3, and U4, which is the bottom right-hand corner option. And it's a similar story for the V option. V stands for variation. And you can hit V1 if you think the image is close to what you had in mind, but it's not quite right. Hitting the V button below will create 4 slightly different options using that first image as a reference. And here's those outputs. Now you can see that they are slightly different while keeping to the same general aesthetic of the original reference imagery. Well, let's say that you didn't like any of these images and you just want to start the process again. Well, the final option is this arrow circle to the far right. This is a re-roll button and means that you want to start the whole process over again using that same initial text prompt. So if we hit that, we'll get a completely different set of images that we can then choose from.
And there you go. That's how you can use Midjourney to create really impressive imagery.
You really do have the master painters, photographers, artists living within your phone or your computer. Let's take a look at how we can tap into them using AI. I'm going to demonstrate different popular styles so you can see how these affect the final output of imagery that's created in Midjourney. To do that, we're going to use the same simple text prompt, but change the last couple of words that dictate the style. So unlike the first one, instead of a realistic style, let's type in /imagine a woman in a yellow dress on a sunny day, comma, oil painting style, and see what that comes up with. And another, a woman in a yellow dress on a sunny day, comma, Pixar Studios style. And another, a woman in a yellow dress on a sunny day, comma, surreal style. I'm going to create a movie still from a new Batman movie. Let's see how the visuals change if we bring in different directors. /imagine a cinematic movie still from a new Batman movie, directed by Christopher Nolan. Not bad. It's very on brand with his movies. /imagine a cinematic movie still from a new Batman movie, directed by Wes Anderson. Nice and colorful. And finally, a cinematic movie still from a new Batman movie, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. And we've got some moody horror vibes. You can start to see how a simple tweak can affect the entire output. This will also work for referencing different painters or artists. A portrait of Batman painted by Van Gogh. A portrait of Batman graffiti by Banksy. You can start to see how differently these turn out. Now it's your turn. Descriptive words and emotive language are fantastic at getting the most out of Midjourney. Don't just explain what you'd like to see, but include how you want the audience to feel as well. For example, here's a simple prompt that I used. A man sitting on a bench, photography style. Now let's see how it changes when I add in some emotion and make it more like a story. A devastated man sits alone on a bench, the weight of the world on his shoulders, leaving the audience feeling sympathetic and extreme pity, photography style. And there we go. Now let's compare these two different images. This is option 1, and this is option 2. They're both showing the same thing, but in vastly different ways. One is layered with emotion, and that can be the difference between creating an engaging image or one that people forget pretty quickly. You don't need to go overboard with wordy or overly lengthy prompts. The new updates are making it more intuitive, so you don't necessarily need to add in sentence upon sentence to your prompts. But instead, let's make sure you add descriptive words. Let me show you what I mean. Say you're a restaurant owner and looking to create some images to show off your menu, but you can't necessarily afford a product photographer. This is a simple prompt that will create an image of a hamburger. But let's take it up a notch and see what happens when we add in the words delicious and mouth-watering hamburger. We can see it's much more appealing. This is particularly the case if you don't really have a specific request in mind. The more vague but emotive you are, you can get some really fantastic results if you aren't needing a very specific image. Try keeping your prompts short but add plenty of feeling. Here's another example. Let's imagine we're the owners of a cafe and creating a marketing campaign. We want the image to tempt people into coming in to get their morning coffee. The image should tell a story of warmth and welcoming. Let's do a short, basic prompt. A coffee on a bench in a cafe, warm and welcoming feeling, product photography style. It's not bad, but let's add a few more emotive words and see how this changes the final output. A delicious morning coffee in a homely cafe in the soft morning light, warm and welcoming feeling, product photography style. This one tells much more of a story and will resonate more with the audience.
A good prompt is creative and detailed. Remember to use vivid language and descriptive phrases to paint a clear picture and really ignite Midjourney's imagination. Think of it as something that's complex and you can really work with it to create something fantastic.
Now you know how to effectively describe a scene, why emotion is important, and also how to select a style. So let's bring them all together. We've created a powerful framework called S.E.S, which stands for Situation, Emotion, and Style. This framework is a game changer when it comes to creating engaging AI-generated imagery. First, situation refers to the scene or context you want to create. This sets the stage for the entire image. For example, a grandpa meeting his new daughter for the first time. Next, emotion helps infuse your image with feelings or atmosphere. This can drastically improve how relatable and engaging your image is. Feelings of overwhelming joy, pride, and warmth. Finally, style directs the AI's artistic approach, allowing you to capture anything from a realistic portrayal to a more abstract or illustrative image. Photography with a 35mm lens. So why is the S.E.S framework so effective? It's because it gives a clear direction to AI, helping it generate more precise and engaging visuals. By defining the situation, emotion, and style, you guide the AI to create images that can truly resonate with your audience. Let's talk about tailoring your visuals to different demographics using the S.E.S framework. Let's imagine that we've been hired by a fitness brand to keep people healthy and active. We're in charge of a new initiative called Fit Revolution. All we want to do is get people moving and to keep people healthy and active, to join a class or to take up running or meditation. Now we're targeting everyone from kids to the elderly. Let's go through by different age examples and start to think about what different styles will resonate best with the different age groups. For kids, the S.E.S prompt could be illustrate a fun, energetic dance class filled with kids, conveying joy and enthusiasm in a lively, cartoonish style. This appeals to young, energetic audiences who value fun and vibrancy and the social aspect of exercise. Now let's target a slightly older demographic in teenagers to 20-somethings. We want to create a more exciting, realistic image that highlights working hard and feeling good. In contrast, for young families, a prompt might be, depict a home scene where a busy parent transitions from work to a quick yoga session, focusing on feelings of balance and calm in a realistic style. This resonates with their need for balance and stress relief. For older demographics, we might use show a tranquil garden scene with a mature person practicing Tai Chi, and feelings of serenity and well-being are shining through, in a warm, realistic style. This aligns with their preference for low-impact exercise and a more peaceful setting or scenario. So by using the S.E.S framework effectively, you can tailor your AI-generated visuals to various demographics, and you're ensuring that your images are engaging, memorable, and relevant to your audience. Now it's your turn. Imagine you're in charge of Fit Revolution and need to make an AI image that targets different demographics.
When creating imagery, your aim is always to make it as relevant as possible to your target audience. Think about the age, interests, the location, the demographic you're looking to hit. That will inform the look, style, and tone of what you might create. We've been approached by big companies to create imagery for their branding, websites, or social media, and we use this exact same process to create imagery for them. We were asked to create an image series for the NFL Super Bowl this year. So what did we do? Firstly, we asked them who they wanted to reach with this imagery. What kind of NFL fans? They came back and they said Philadelphia fans. Fantastic. So we settled on a specific concept and we went to work. Let's jump in.
So we settled on highlighting Eagles player Jordan Mailata. He was the player we really wanted to focus on. The idea we came up with was as a marauder being dropped into the Arizona desert. That's where the NFL Super Bowl was being played this year, and he's being dropped into the desert on a mission. We wanted the overall feelings, vibes to be exciting, almost like a Predator type movie. We used quite a detailed prompt for this one because we had quite a specific image in mind, and you can find that complete prompt in your resource list. These images were shared by the NFL across their digital, social channels and did really, really well. And you can make images just like them. Because this was a campaign for social media, we wanted to make sure that the image itself was optimized for the social media platforms. And what I mean by that is by making sure that the aspect ratio, the actual size of the image, is correct. Most people consume social media content on their phones these days, and the best aspect ratio for viewing the average post on an Instagram, on a Facebook, is usually 4:5. So with Midjourney, you can change the aspect ratio by typing in --AR and then the image size that you'd like. For this one, it's 4:5. And this is how images in those dimensions will look. I won't dive too much into the aspect ratios, but we have included some examples in your resource list. You can also change the size of a generated image within Midjourney using some different functions. Say I've created this image of a close-up face, but I'd like it to be zoomed out to reveal more of the scene. This zoom out button allows you to do just that. This is great to show more of the location without changing the image. It's simply extending out the borders. You can zoom out ×2, zoom out by 1.5, or there's the custom zoom option as well. If your initial image was in horizontal orientation, say an aspect ratio of 16:9, you can also hit this button to make it square and more optimized for social media. These final arrow buttons are in a similar vein and allow you to pan in any direction that you want, almost to get a panoramic view.
And if you're a photographer or have experience filming, no knowledge is wasted. You can even use Midjourney to control the type of camera that's used for the shot, or even the type of lighting. Let's jump in and have a look.
Remember, you're not bound by the same limitations anymore. If you've always wanted to use a certain expensive camera or lens to take an image, well, now in a way you can. Let's have some fun and see how you can include the use of different lenses, cameras, or lighting to affect the image. I'm going to start by typing in /imagine, a portrait of a man, photography using a 70mm lens. Okay, now let's try a portrait of a man using a fisheye lens. This also applies for macro photography or black and white, right through to the selfie style imagery. You can really do it all. You can really be as specific and creative as you like with these different combinations of cameras and lenses, and it's similar when it comes to lighting. You can include silhouette, volumetric, backlit, long exposure. Any of your favorite photography styles can really shine through here. Let's look at another realistic example, and this was for a client in Mexico. It was a news outlet, and they wanted to prepare for the event that filmmaker and director Guillermo del Toro won an Oscar. Again, this was for social media, so we included the aspect ratio --AR 4:5. Now you can see that this image is very dark and cinematic, which really fits what we were wanting, a vampire king. But what if we wanted to create something realistic, like an editorial style photograph? Let's head back to our settings and change to the RAW mode. This mode is best if you want really realistic faces and portraits that displays them warts and all. They look really clear, really realistic. These raw images are usually less glossy and without that cinematic treatment that Midjourney is known for. Let's take a look at a few examples, then create some new pictures. Now it's your turn to create some images, and let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is great, but what if I want to create an image of myself or a family member riding on a bicycle? Well, what you can do is upload an image of yourself in Midjourney and have AI run its magic. Let's jump in and have a look.
To add in your own picture, make sure it's as high quality as possible of the person that you're wanting to highlight. Click Add to the bottom bar and drop in the image. Hit Enter. Once it's dropped in, it may take a minute, but you'll be able to right-click and hit Copy Media Link. The link you've just copied will come up as a URL, and that is now the reference to that image. Alternatively, if you're on a computer and can't see that Copy Media Link button, you can instead click the image, then tap Open in Browser and copy this URL link at the top. This will work the same way. Now to add that into your designs, type in /imagine and then paste that link into your prompt so it's the first thing within the prompt. Then you can type out the prompt as normal and it will use that image that you've provided as a reference to build upon. Here's some examples. /paste this man as a Pixar 3D animation. Of course, you can build on these as much as you like. Now, likeness can be a difficult thing to get down sometimes, and we will be going through an advanced face swapping technique later on in the course just to get that accuracy of your images as close as possible to the likeness of yourself or real people. But for this next task, take a photo of yourself or use the stock image of a person provided and build on that image using some simple prompts. We had an idea to combine a few passions: artificial intelligence and beer.
What's billed as the first AI-generated beer in the world has been created at a Newcastle brewery. Neural network has all the components of regular beer, except it's not made by humans.
So we used AI tools like ChatGPT to create the ingredients list, the brewing process, the name, and we used Midjourney to create the can design.
The only human element is the brewers.
For this concept, we partnered with an Australian brewery called Modus. Now, Modus are famous for capturing themes of sun and surfing, coastal, laid-back kind of vibes in their beers. We wanted the can design to reflect the themes that Modus are famous for, while also tying it into the AI vibes like robots and the future. So we combined these in a prompt that was fun, vibrant, and engaging, and went down a more illustrative route. We were really happy with how it turned out. The can design is actually up for an award as well for Best Beer Can Design, and it doesn't hurt that the beer actually tastes surprisingly great too.
But while the creator might be artificial, the brew is the real deal.
To create standout illustrations, cartoons, or anime kinds of images, the NIJI model in Midjourney is really effective. This provides a different style of imagery to the default aesthetic that Midjourney usually applies. To change to the NIJI model, head back to your settings, /settings, and hit NIJI with the Apple symbol. Now let's create some anime and cartoon imagery. Now it's your turn. The next feature we're going to look at is called Vary Region, also known as inpainting. Now before doing this, make sure Remix mode is enabled in your settings. Now this is a game changer when it comes to editing and tweaking your AI imagery, because it allows you to change specific areas of an image. Let's pick an example using this image of Tom Cruise on the red carpet. It's a nice picture, but there's a big old sun flare that we'd like to remove. We can do that by hitting Vary Region. Now an editor window will appear where you can choose to highlight the areas of the image that you'd like to change. There's a box selector on the left that will select a whole chunk of the image, or a lasso tool on the right, and that's for selecting those more complicated areas like a person's hair. We want to remove this big old sun flare from Tom Cruise's jacket, so selecting the lasso tool, we drag and make sure it's completely covered. Now the bottom text bar is where we choose what we'd like to replace into this area. If you just want to blend a smudge or a blemish out of the image, leave the text box blank and Midjourney will smooth it out of that region. Let's try again and replace the jacket out entirely. We can do this by using the box selector and highlighting that region. Let's type in white tuxedo, and you can start to see how powerful this tool is. The opportunities are really endless, and it does a great job with making realistic changes that seamlessly fit into the environment. Let's give Tom Cruise blonde hair. Nice one. And one step further to push this tool to its limits, let's fill out the rest of the image with animals. I'm going to share 2 advanced tips that are really helpful, particularly as you get more confident and more comfortable with using Midjourney. The first is creating your own server. Now, the reason you do this is because you get a bit sick of sharing the same channel with all these random people, and you just like to create your own organized channels. To do this, go to the far left sidebar and hit the plus symbol, then add a server. Create my own for me and my friends. Then you can name it anything you want. Great. This is it. This is your new server. Now we want to invite Midjourney into that server so we can use it just like we have been. You can do this by clicking on your new server name, then selecting App Directory. Next, search for Midjourney in the search box and select it from the list below. Click Add to Server. Now you can use this channel just like you would, clicking /imagine and using it like normal. You can set up different channels for different styles of art, and the best bit is that because it's a private server, that it's just yours, you don't have to scroll endlessly to find your images. They're only going to be your images. I love this next tip, and it's the advanced face swapping technique. Now, this can really help you to get an accurate likeness of someone down. First, you need to install a plugin called Insight Face Swap, and you can do that by following the link in your resource list at the end of this module. We've dropped it in there. Once you've installed it, you're good to go. To use this plugin, you first need to supply a reference image of yourself, of your face, or the face that you'd like featured in your images. To do that, type /save ID in the Discord chat, and then drop in your image. As an example, I'm going to use an image of this man. After dropping in your image, you'll need to give your character ID a name. This will be used to identify your character in future commands. So for this guy, let's call him Mike. Next, we want to swap Mike's face onto the face of another character. This is done by typing in /swap ID. Then we type in Mike, because this is the character that we want to reference. Then drop in the image that we want to transform and hit enter. Now you'll see that Mike's face has been replaced onto the face of a new character. Let's do another one. Now you can do this with all different styles of characters, from the abstract to the really realistic. This is an extremely powerful tool and helps you to get the most out of the AI images that you're creating. You can save many different characters by using /save ID and creating a reference to James or Jessica, and then using Insight Face Swap to swap their likeness onto a new character.
Then we've got the blend tool. This tool combines 2 or more images into one single image and can be a whole lot of fun. This can be used by people like artists to combine 2 works to create something entirely new and different.
The blend tool allows you to take 2 or more images and create something entirely new. Let's see how this one works. I'm going to type in /blend and choose 2 images that are on my computer. One is of the Mona Lisa and the other is of Starry Night. Hitting enter, let's see what it creates. Bingo, you see we've got 4 different options. This can be really useful if you're an artist or a photographer wanting to blend some of your own images, and everything that is created is based off your own work. It's a really fun, really interesting new way to use Midjourney. Keep in mind that the more images that you blend, the more wacky and weird the final output is likely to become. This is because Midjourney will combine different aspects from each image to create an entirely new piece of art. Now let's see what happens when we blend 4 images together and see how different the final output is. Here are the 4 images that I've chosen, and I'm going to blend these ones all together. You also have the option to choose the aspect ratio and dimension size. So you can go for portrait, square, or landscape. I'm going to select square for this example, but you could also change it. Now it's your turn to use the blend function to combine a few images that we've provided in the resource list.
And finally, we have the Describe tool. Now, this is a really underrated and useful tool because it allows you to reference and build on an existing image. Say you like the look of a photograph and you want to create something in a similar style. Let's have a look at how it works.
The Describe tool is a really underutilized function within Midjourney, and I'm going to explain why it's really one of the most important and powerful functions within the platform. Here's why. If you ever see any kind of imagery on Instagram, online, anywhere really, and want to mimic the style, you can do that by using the Describe function. For example, say I love this image of a tiny bird sitting on someone's hand, and I want to know what prompt I could use to create a similar image. To do that, you type in /describe and then choose the image that you'd like to reference and hit enter. Then that image will be offered up in a prompt. As always, there will be 4 different options. Once you've selected one, you can choose to input that again into Midjourney. Now, the best bit is instead of just accepting this option, I can actually add to the text prompt to make it more specific, more to something that I'd like to see. For example, I want there to be a winter snowy atmosphere to this entire setting. So let's add a simple winter wonderland location to the text prompt and see how we go. Beautiful. Now you can have a try using the Describe tool using the imagery provided.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining me on this journey. You now have all the tools you need to make an impact using AI, and I can't wait to see what you'll create. My final tips are stay curious, experiment and play around with AI tools as much as possible. New tools will continue to come out, but if you stay interested in this space, you will get ahead. And the most important thing is have fun. I mean, these tools are just fantastic to play around with. So keep it up, and I really look forward to seeing what you create with AI.
Which brings us to this image, a beautiful sunrise shot, but it's a fake.
I was playing around with an AI image generator one day called Midjourney. And I realized that the quality of output you could get from those was as good as what I could take with a camera.
Early in 2023, AI presented photographer Jamie Van Leeuwen with a picture-perfect opportunity.
And I thought, okay, people need to realize how powerful the potential of this stuff is. So I thought, what's the best way to do that, to bring this to light? And I thought, let's shock people.
His AI creation was then entered into a photography contest.
This photo won. And it was the first photo AI image to win a photography contest. And then the criticism, the backlash started rolling in. The hate, because people were scared, and understandably. I mean, if someone's sitting at home miles away from a beach can just put in, beach shot award winner, in a minute, 2 minutes, and create something that is as good as a real image, it is scary to think about.
AI created it by taking an infinite number of pixels from an infinite number of photos that were found online. Jamie called the image the most stolen photograph. This is actually a dangerous point in society where we don't know what is real and what is fake.
100%. I mean, I came clean straight away. I gave the cash prize back. I said, look, guys, this was an AI image. And I did it more so, the experiment was more so to show people what we are capable of now. So people can start to wrestle with these big ideas, the huge ideas, you know, of trust, of can we believe what we're seeing?
People say, am I afraid of AI? I say, I'm not afraid of AI, I'm afraid of HS. And they say, well, you know, what's HS? HS is human stupidity. It's the dumb things people will do with powerful tools. So we do need rules, we do need regulations, we do need a framework around these kind of technologies. Now is the time to be doing that because I don't actually think we're at a dangerous point yet.
Thank you very much.
These are uncertain times in the world of AI, a technology that we've long taken for granted is now evolving at breakneck speed, and it's only going to accelerate, leaving most to agree we must step carefully.
It's all the real thing.
Even technologists are saying you've got to have a circuit breaker with automated decision making if it's not working in the way that it's supposed to be able to intervene in the software and stop that and reset it.
A kill switch. There needs a kill switch.
Effectively. So, you know, that type of thing's being thought through.
If all of this seems too much, perhaps the solution is simply to turn the machines off.
Often I get people asking me, oh, but it must have an off switch. No, it doesn't, okay? If, you know, AI in itself is self-replicating, it's distributed everywhere, and our economies are dependent on it already. The challenge that's facing humanity in the age of the rise of artificial intelligence is not the machines. The challenge that's facing humanity is humans and how they are instructing AI to serve us. The age of humanity being the superior intelligence of the planet is over.
I believe that robots should have rights, just like humans.
I mean, with the new AI technology and our skills already, what's going to come? We don't know.
I am not Morgan Freeman.
People need to realize how powerful the potential of this stuff is.
And what you see is not real.
Are you saying the next interview there'll be a robot sitting there?
I have your daughter.
You better have all the cash, both you and your daughter are dead.
Why make something human when you can make something superhuman?
Are you capable of causing people harm?
It's all the real thing.